riders are the only ones to have won the Kalahari Desert Race since its inception in 2002. We'll cover that answer later in the show. On the start line, concentration now kicked into high gear. Passing in the high-speed terrain was going to be difficult, with 10-minute decontrols after each short lap meant the gaps were going to be very, very small. As the top riders started the day's racing, it was obvious that dust was going to once again be a factor. Grey Dick shows us just how bad it gets. Overshooting corners on desert races is pretty common, as our championship leader shows us. This time no bushes, but it is one of the main reasons why they wear sleeve protectors, as the huck and steer thorns can shred your arms if the tree is in the way. Chris Webster had already lost over a minute to Mahoney. He would now make up ground on Lawrence in the fast straights, but then lose time in the corners. Very frustrating when you're looking for your first victory of the season. Altus de Vet was flying, but behind him, the bigger bike of Grey Dick was making up lots of ground after he was started 10 seconds later than he should have been. Grey was reaching speeds of up to 160 kilometers an hour, but just could not pass in de Vet's dust. Honda's Franco Smith had proved his talent in round one and showed in the Kalahari that it was no fluke. Rian van der Kerk was pushing as hard as ever, as he knew this terrain would become part of his life with the upcoming X Rally in Marrakesh. On the proudly Bidvest Yamaha, Kenny Gilbert was flat out, but soon ran into trouble with suspension. Would it last the rest of the race? That's what he was asking. A return to racing for Nicolas Pinar in the last Enduro was successful. He was looking to do the same here, but Jonathan Webster was planning to change that and was right on his tail. Would he be able to make the pass? Because the dust was now a serious factor. Cargo Racing's Mark Garland was still riding with a few niggling injuries, but would never say quit. Jonathan van Wyk also overshooting this corner due to the dust and sun in his eyes, while Bolly van Rooyen on the comeback trail almost capitalized on that mistake. The extremely fast Timmy Young had already made up 5 positions this early on in the race. Ian Dykes too had made up a few places and was now leading the OL4 category. Onto loop 2 of 3, which they would have to do twice, saw Mahoney extend his lead as the loop was a little tighter. This meant that the 300cc two-stroke was lighter and more nimble to handle on the twisty sections, custom made for Mahoney. Chris Webster was trying everything in his book to catch the KTM. He would have to wait for the big straights. Altus de Vet and Grey Dick were still tied together as Grey was starting to take risks looking for the pass. Franco Smith could see this happening further up the road and knew he could make up a few places if either of the 2 KTMs made the smallest of mistakes. Making up one position on the Yamaha was Kenny Gilbert, as he had passed Rian van der Kerk, showing that horsepower was a big advantage in the desert. Jono Webster had just made the pass on the Rad KTM of Pienaar, really battling to keep up with the pace of the man who was coming on strong. His gearing looks like it was a little bit short for this race. The Cargo Racing teammates were now riding together, trying to close the gap on those ahead. Jono van Veek and Bolly van Rooyen falling further back after setting the track alight early on. A relatively new name to mix it with the top riders was Gert van den Berg from the Roost Racing. He was up to 6th place in the OR2 category. Trying hard to see through the dust was CJ Blackman. A name we haven't seen at the top for a while is Brett Cummings. He had unfortunately dropped back after a few problems early on. In the OR3 category, Michael Creevy took control, with teammate Tyrone Miller following closely and Philip Mayhew getting left in their dust. A race that would normally suit Wade Blau was just not doing it for him this time after a qualifying low down in 22nd and had lots of ground to make up with Sharon Moore behind, getting used to riding the 450. The third loop, which was the fastest of the three, was where Lawrence Mahoney lost the most ground on the bigger 450s, but still managed to keep a big enough gap to still lead the race. This was where the Yamaha 450s would really be able to show their true speed, and Chris Webster was able to make up some ground on Mahoney. Further back, Altus de Vet was still managing to keep a very frustrated Gray Dick behind him. Gray on a factory 450 was desperate to get ahead and fight for the win with two open-class riders ahead. After all, desert racing is what Gray does best. His nickname is the Kalahari King. This is why we call him the Kalahari King. 5th gear, pinned wide open. That's Grey Dick. Franco Smith was now doing his best to catch up to that battle. But if Gray can't pass, it's going to be very hard for Franco to make it count too. Kenny Gilbert ran into some serious issues with his front forks on the Yamaha, which by this stage had now completely collapsed. This obviously slowed him down dramatically, losing him many places towards the end of the lap. Just after passing Gilbert, Rian van der Kerk had to retire after mechanical problems on his 350cc KTM, putting him out of the points chase. This meant Jono Webster would automatically gain 2 places, putting him in the hunt for a top 5 finish. Nicolas Pienaar was now up to speed after some minor adjustments to his bike and was looking good for a top 10 overall, with Garland and Young the chasers on his wheel. It was a wrong turn that sent Bolly van Rooyen all the way to the bottom of the pile in time trial. Now he was struggling to make the passes count. Frustrating for a rider who should be a podium contender at this event.
Yeah, no, it's Kalahari, man. It's it's fast. We've done 3 loops now. First loop this morning was hard to go because the grass was long and I was the first bike out, but the quads have been through that loop now and all the bikes have been through it, so yeah. Second loop was nice and, you know, a bit of tight, bit of fast stuff. Third loop was just fast, long flat roads, and yeah, I had to push very hard, you know, because the 450s, they make up time easily on the fast stuff. But 3 more loops, I'm still in the lead, and fitness is feeling good. Bike is awesome, thanks to Luit and Paul. So yeah, we're going to go out there, no mistakes, and keep it flat out. I don't think so. I'm sickling a bit in the dust. It's just hanging there. There's no wind taking it away. But I'll see if I can keep it there for the rest of the race.
I think you got what it takes to catch him and overtake?
Yeah, I think I've got what it takes.
Yeah, it's flat out there. I'm doing my best. I'm going as fast as I can, and I'm feeling good. The bike's good. So yeah, we'll see if we can hang on for third, but most important for a class win. So we'll try and keep the KTM up there.
Yeah, it's Fireberg, you know, that's how we know it. It's a little grassier than normal, you know, the grass is quite long, so we can't see the ground that well. So yeah, it is dusty and it is fast, but I'm having fun, you know. I've just come back from injury, so it's nice to be able riding, and I'm happy where I am. I'll try to stay where I am throughout the day and catch 1 or 2 places and then see what happens.
In the senior class, Guy Henley took full advantage of the absence of Wayne Farmer, who had crashed in a regional race, injuring himself. Henley knew that winning this race would give him a great chance at the championship. Jaco du Toit aboard the Honda was not too far back, looking to get one of his best finishes to date. Neil Gailey was once again dominant in the Masters class. Unfortunately, only 2 Masters class riders competing in this event. Albert Hintonhouse, off a great result at the Caledon 400, rode impressively to put himself into 3rd place, earning him good points in the championship, whilst the rest of the seniors were chopping and changing position to fight their way to the top. Stephen Lattmann had switched from his gas, which gives him good results in the Enduro Championship, to a big Yamaha for the off-roads, and was just getting used to the flat-out nature of this kind of race.